Maximum News is a political satire podcast. The views expressed by the hosts or guests do not necessarily represent the views of the network or our sponsors. Also, it's very hard to talk about people like Ted Cruz without saying lots and lots of swear words. So maybe don't listen with the small little children persons. Welcome to Maximum News, everybody. My name is Michael Zampino.
And I'm TJ Clark.
We start this week again back in Nashville, Tennessee. As we are recording this episode, we are watching history unfold as State Rep Justin Jones has already been voted to be expelled from the House of Congress. And Gloria Johnson and Justin Pearson are set to vote on expelling them as well. If you're unfamiliar with who these people are or why they're being voted to be expelled from their elected seats in Congress, we had a shooting, another school shooting. I'm sure you're aware of that school shooting. There have been peaceful protests at the Capitol ever since, and these three lawmakers decided to take part in the peaceful protest with the people that voted them into office to represent them and the things that they want to have happen. When you vote for your representative, they're supposed to represent you and the things that you would like to see happen. The things that they're representing, the people that they're representing want to see gun laws changed. And therefore, they are doing their job by fighting for the people they represent and are doing so in a peaceful protest. And because of that, they were immediately removed from all of their committees. Their ID badges were immediately shut down, and within 24 hours, they're holding votes to expel them from Congress.
They were comparing the protest to an insurrection, right?
Yes. The one said specifically, and I quote, what's happening is equivalent, at least equivalent, if not worse, than an insurrection in the Capitol.
Yeah.
If not worse.
So
this peaceful protest is potentially worse than Jan 6.
Where people died.
Where cops were killed, where people died.
And from what we've heard watching this, too, like a lot of the protesters at the Tennessee one were literal children.
Yes, these are a lot of middle schoolers and high schoolers who came out. So actual children, literal.
Which is like one of the reasons why they went out there. They said they didn't like these children were out there like protesting, and these lawmakers were like, we've got to like go out there. If the
kids can be out there, we have to be out there with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's one of the things they were doing. They had a megaphone, and they were like just answering questions, responding to people, and then just like showing support.
Yes, and they're using a bullshit loophole that says that they broke rules of House decorum, which obviously you can make the arguments whether or not that is or is not a legitimate thing they could have brought forward. Whether or not they did or did not break rules of House decorum is not relevant because there is no way, shape, or form, any chance on God's green earth that is actually why this is happening.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they keep repeating, and I think it's incredibly important that they keep repeating loudly, is that the fact that these three lawmakers happen to be one of two women and the two youngest black lawmakers is not a coincidence.
Yeah.
It is not a coincidence. It is not accidental.
Also shocking that she's one of two. There's only two women in Tennessee.
Yeah. Tennessee is. First of all, if you live in Tennessee and you voted for one of these three people, by the end of the day, you're going to be unrepresented. Yeah. You're going to be without representation. And the Tennessee state legislature, at least for a temporary time being, is going to be even further one-sided than it already is.
Very similar to Oklahoma, right? It was like
Oh, it's
25 to 75 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the vote to expel was 72 to 25.
Yeah.
72 people in the state house in Tennessee thought that the NRA and the Tennessee Firearms Association and all the gun lobbies, their opinion and their money is more important than democracy in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah. First time anyone's been removed, a state lawmaker's been removed across the country for a First Amendment right, basically, right? Isn't that what they said?
Yeah, essentially, yes. This is they are being expelled specifically for exercising their First Amendment right against the Second Amendment right.
Yeah.
Which is just a real mind fuck of
Yeah.
And look, if you're gonna make me pick between the two, I'm taking one all day. I'm taking that First Amendment all day, every day. That one that says we can.
Got all the good stuff in it.
Yeah, especially the stuff about not establishing religion.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part, and I like to remind people of that shit.
We're real bad at that.
Oh, they love to forget that part. Yeah. They're like, I need to use my First Amendment right to force religion on people. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
Read the second half of that shit.
Yeah.
This is terrible. Fuck. I mean, it's
heavy.
It's worse than terrible.
We've been watching it for an hour and a half or so, and it's just like it's heavy. It's heavy, but also like inspiring. Like by now, I'm sure there's lots of video out of the speeches that these lawmakers
as you're listening,
and some of the talks giving to the press and stuff. These are impassioned, well spoken, just angry, like a knowledgeable man. They
smart,
just like
eloquent.
Yeah, there's so many cameras and microphones pointed at these guys right now, and women, and they are nailing it.
And this is going to be another situation where these short-sighted attempts to own the libs and drum up their base end up backfiring.
Yeah.
Because what you did is you're expelling these kids from the state House of Representatives just so that they can turn around and take your seats in the actual House of Congress.
Yeah.
Because if you think that these kids aren't going to come back and run for bigger seats, you're out of your goddamn mind.
Oh yeah,
there's
three national Democratic stars were just created.
Yeah, and honestly, I haven't seen Gloria Johnson speak. I don't know if she's going to be propelled in the same way that these two Justins are.
Yeah,
Justin's Jones and Pearson.
Yeah.
The two Justins, these guys are going. I mean, and like I said, I have not seen her speak yet. We're saying this as these things are still going
on the floor.
She's on the floor
defending herself as we're recording.
As we're recording this, she's literally on the floor defending herself. But as far as the two times that we have seen Justin Jones and Justin Pearson speak today, it's
powerful.
It's a bad move on the Republicans' part because they're, like you said, they have just created new superstars in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I'm hearing the support when Justin Jones was talking, and
his
you could hear the
his
chamber.
final remarks.
Yeah. I guess they were probably broadcasting it to the
lobby. They had showed earlier that there was a TV in the lobby that the protesters were reacting to.
And man, it was so loud.
You could hear them from the microphones inside that he was speaking.
Everyone on that floor heard that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they all heard that shit.
They'll never hear cheers like that in their life.
Not for them. Hell no. Nope.
Yeah.
Never. And this is the same state where you had Marsha Blackburn and Bill Haggerty vote to vote. They voted against the certification of the election in 2020, Biden's election. So overturning the will of the people is nothing new to these motherfuckers.
Yeah, the day the actual insurrection took place.
Yeah, the day of the actual insurrection, they voted to not certify the election, and this is worse. For them, these kids coming and being peacefully protesting is worse than that day.
Yeah.
And then don't let us not forget old Randy McNally. Randy McNally, who just recently got in trouble for all his.
So surprise, there's a lot of hypocrisy happening because there were several Tennessee House members who have done some real shady shit who didn't even have there was no question. They just let them stay on.
No committee removal, nobody's been censured.
You might remember old Randy McNally. They did an SNL skit about it.
Yeah, not the Maps guy.
not old Rand McNally. This guy's maps are filled with Hearts. Come, young men, and hearts and fire emojis.
Oh my God.
That's Randy McNally. So, I mean, I personally don't think, I'm glad there was no hearing. If this dude's getting kicked off for like leaving homoerotic comments, like, that's bullshit too. Like,
yes, let us
this
say
guy's a piece of shit because he's a hypocrite and
exactly.
voted don't fucking ban drag shows or whatever, and then
this guy deserves to be dragged for the hypocrisy of how he votes on LGBTQ issues, but while also being closeted.
Clearly,
look, because goddamn well that even if this Republican had come out and said, "Look, I'm gay. I liked these posts," we would have defended the fuck out of him if they would have tried to expel him, because that is wrong. However, if that being said, had he been voting for LGBTQ people and supporting them, and you know what I mean, because at the end of the day, there are gay Republicans who support LGBTQ issues that are still railroaded by other Republicans, and we support them. We support those Republicans that are standing up for the LGBTQ community. They're fucking few and far between, and they need to get way louder.
Like this guy is like such like the Republican psyche to me, because here's a guy who, because at first he was like, I ain't gonna stop. Like he was like, I want to do what I want to do. If I want to leave heart emojis on a gay man's post, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Like he was like, no, I'm not going to do it.
If I want to acknowledge a nice tight butt,
you'll stand up for your own rights to like do gay shit, but you don't want drag queens reading
correct
books. Yeah,
because that's
so fuck
grooming
that,
children.
first of all, yeah,
fuck that 79-year-old prick.
You could have been cool, Randy.
I should have stuck with maps, bro.
Yeah. So anyway, this was only
your jizzy maps.
There was your jizzy maps. There were some other ones. Like this guy is just an idiot.
Jizzy Maps was not as good as Google Maps.
No, not even close. But yeah, anyway, there's been other. No surprise, there's been other bad stuff from Republicans that had no consequences, but take place in a protest with children and they get kicked out.
Yeah, I mean, it's the false equivalence that they bring up to the January 6th insurrection. That's one of the most infuriating things after the fact that they're actually voting these people out of their duly elected seats in Congress. These people were elected by their constituents, and they're being removed for exercising their First Amendment rights. I mean, and if you it's just another thing that shows you, if you ever needed an example of how much more beholden they are to the gun lobby than to you, this is it. I mean, because even Republicans support most of the gun laws that are being brought forth. Because let's be clear, what's being brought forth is not any sort of laws taking existing guns away.
Yeah.
An assault weapons ban would not take away your AR-15 if you already own one. That let's dispel that myth right now, because it's written into the law that those guns would be grandfathered in. Do I agree with it? No, but that's not relevant. The point is that there is in none of these bills is there any language about taking existing guns from people unless you're talking about red flag laws, which those are overwhelmingly supported by even Republicans.
Yeah.
That says if you have evidence that someone is bad news and is yes, you should be able to take dangerous weaponry away from that person.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, but you should. And it goes back to what Jon Stewart was saying to when he was destroying Nathan
when
Dom.
He was making Dom his sub, yeah.
Yes, is that with rights come responsibilities, which is why you have to register to vote, which is why you have to register your car, which is why you have to do all of these things, which is why they regulate the airline industry, which is why they regulate all these things, are regulated for the safety of people.
Yeah.
It's something that I actually finally heard the comparison on, I think it was Morning Joe, but I've been making this comparison for probably a decade, where I said, I think 3 people died from lawn darts before they pulled them shits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For real. Years ago, I started bringing up lawn darts because I remember as a kid getting lawn darts, and there were these like rubbery weighted like things where it's just essentially like a shot put with a handle on it, right? And I was like, oh, these are kind of boring. And then my grandmother telling me what long darts used to be, and me going, oh fuck, they sold those. I mean, look up what lawn darts used to be.
Yeah, like spears.
Yes, they were literally weighted spears that you would chuck into the air and hope no one ran underneath.
Watch out, Granny.
Yeah, exactly. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe the number is 3. I think only 3 people had to die before they were like, lawn darts are not safe enough. You can't have your toy anymore.
Yeah. I think I've heard a similar comparison is the shoe bomber, right? Like the shoe bomber didn't successfully like set off a bomb, but we still
now
make
you
people
have
take off their
now
shoes.
You got to
like,
take off your shoes,
decades
bitch.
later, we're still taking off our shoes.
Yep, and I don't see you screaming and yelling about your Foot Amendment rights. My Second Amendment says my feet stay in my shoes all the time. Trust me, you don't want me taking off these shoes.
They got guns in them.
I mean, it's insane. The idea that something that obviously causes far more deaths than any of these other things,
But they get riled up about people speaking out against it.
And just the idea of even potentially just making it a little bit harder to get one.
Yeah.
Even saying like, I'm not trying to take them away. I just want it to be a little bit harder for fucking nut jobs to get one.
We talked about this in last week's, like in Tulsa, the St. Francis shooter. He bought that gun the day of.
That day. When
he was like mad at his doctor and then like went and bought the gun while steaming mad.
Who
and
knows?
Went and shot people.
The next day, it is highly unlikely he would have still had that same motivation.
Yeah.
It's
we cool off. We get fucking
100%.
And we cool off.
100%.
That's all, yeah.
So the idea, and this idea of like, oh, the good guy with the gun and the bad guy with the gun and blah, 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 blah. Well, how do you know who's the bad guy with the gun if you have nothing put in place to even be able to tell who has one? Yeah. It's the permitless carry thing that really infuriates me the most. It's that thing that says, doesn't matter if you're breathing, stick a gun in your pants and cover it up and it's fine. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck? Yeah. Permitless carry for whoever the fuck. Yeah. That's insane to me. It is just walk around a fucking Walmart for 30 minutes and think of how many of those people you would feel comfortable with having guns.
No thanks.
Exactly.
I already have anxiety.
Exactly. Oh, they're like, oh, I want all these gun rights. I want all these gun rights. And it's like, you know how you know how you feel about the people around you. I know that there's people around you that you're like, oh, I hope that motherfucker doesn't have a gun. But you're going to vote to make sure that if they want one, they can have one, no questions asked.
Yeah. The thing that never makes sense to me is most police forces are for gun control.
Absolutely.
They're like their job. They care about Blue Lives Matters and they wear like the blue flags on their trucks. But the thing they could do to actually help prevent cops from dying is put less guns on the street.
Or
help,
they're not even. Or help the cops do their job easier by being able to get more guns. You always talk about getting guns off the street, get the illegal guns off the street, blah blah blah. You're making it harder for the cops because there's just as... It's
hard to tell who anyone can legally have them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're just muddying the waters. You're just making it harder for them to do their job. And that was also touched on in the Jon Stewart interview.
Yeah.
You say it's back the blue and, it's all about funding the police and until they indict Donald Trump and then it's defund. Yeah. Defund the DOJ, defund the FBI.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, just to pivot for a moment, let's pivot on to that little piece of news that Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, has officially been arrested and arraigned on the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels, Karen McDougal, and a doorman for a New York City building that claimed that he had evidence that Trump had fathered a child out of wedlock. Now, since that happened, I believe it's only from the Trump camp, but they have said that information has since come out that says the doorman story was false. Uh-huh. I'm willing to bet there's more to that story.
Yeah, if he's
I want to
listed in the
dig.
indictment,
I
like-
want to dig more into that doorman story and find
Yeah.
out who this bastard child of Donald J. Trump is.
Because I'd heard that a long time ago and like didn't hear much about it afterwards. But hearing about it again, like in the indictment, sounds like it's something. Yeah.
I mean, if anything, even if the story wasn't true, how they paid him off was illegal.
Yeah.
And that's the thing
And
is
if it's not, why are they paying him off? If it's not true, though, I don't get that either.
their argument was to keep Melania from finding out because hush money payments are not illegal. It's not illegal to pay someone to stay quiet about something to avoid embarrassment or being fired or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a debate to be had about whether or not that should be illegal.
Yeah.
Which I firmly believe it should be illegal to pay someone to stay quiet about bad things you did. You shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But the point is that these payments were made to influence the election and nothing else. Yeah. And that was made clear in the indictment because in the court transcripts, there is among the messaging from Trump and Michael Cohen and Alan Weisselberg was conversation about delaying payment until after the election because if he won, then he wouldn't have to pay or he could get out of paying.
Wow.
So, it could not be any more black and white that their goal was to influence the election. If they're saying, hey, if we wait till after the election, we might not even have to pay because the thing we're trying to keep it quiet for won't matter anymore. Yeah, because solid. Why all of a sudden would it change that he would no longer care if Melania found out after the election?
Yeah.
Because a lawyer said on TV that his defense was that the reason the payments were made was to keep Melania from finding out, to keep the family from embarrassment or whatever.
That would have been forever, right? Like keep it quiet forever, not till after the election.
Exactly. Yeah. So that line in and of itself there pretty much proves that the entire thing was to influence the election. And so everything he did in every payment he made, every time the fact that Michael Cohen was paid $420,000 total for this work was so that they could influence the tax. They filed it as income for Michael Cohen so that it would be taxed differently, which is another crime. That is tax fraud. Yeah. That is New York State tax fraud. Yeah. So you have campaign violations, not campaign fine. And all these people keep saying it can't be a campaign finance violation if it wasn't campaign finance funds.
Yeah.
That's partially true. What changes it is, and the Federal Elections Committee said that this was an election crime because even though the payments didn't come from campaign money, the payments were made on behalf of the campaign to influence the campaign, to help sway a campaign.
Yeah.
That means the money doesn't have to come from the campaign funds.
Yeah.
You can use personal funds to influence a campaign and it's still illegal.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. So, and the thing so those things are why specifically these charges got bumped from misdemeanors to felonies. Nice. Because when you're doing those falsification of business records just to falsify the business records, for whatever reason, that's a misdemeanor. But if you're doing that to cover up a secondary crime, that's a felony.
Like, you know what happened in Breaking Bad?
Probably.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, probably. I don't remember specifically, but yeah, I mean,
I remember there was she was cooking the books for. Oh no, never mind. I'm wrong. It's fine. Sorry to spoil a Breaking Bad.
Yeah, right. There's cooking books involved and math. They cook books and math.
Yeah. But I threw a go ahead.
It's okay.
Sorry.
But this, anyway, that's why if anybody's like, oh, they really had to reach to bump it up to a felony, they really didn't. No. They really didn't. And New York state law specifically says that they do not have to specify what the other crimes are in the indictment when saying that these payments were made to further another crime. And there's a reason for that too. There's a reason why you would not put that in there because that could be part of another open investigation.
Oh, yeah.
And if those crimes are being investigated by the DOJ, by Jack Smith, or still by the SDNY, if there's still another investigation about those other crimes, you can't mention it because then you're potentially
leaking information,
you're potentially fucking up your other case. And so that's why it is specifically said in black and white writing that is not required. So all those people that are yelling and screaming about how, they're saying it's because of other crimes, but they won't say what they are, therefore it's bullshit. No, that's not why. It's because most likely those crimes are still under investigation. Mm-hmm. That's my theory.
I saw a couple of headlines today. There was other, like, in some of his other court cases, there was some movement, right? Like, I know Pence said he'll testify.
So Pence said he's not going to appeal the judge's ruling.
Yeah.
So the federal judge ruled that he can't fight the subpoena, that he may be able to get away with not speaking about the time in which he was actually running the Senate that day, those couple of hours.
Yeah.
He might be able to avoid talking about those couple of hours. Everything on either side of it, though, open fucking season. And Mike Pence knows he has no case, so he said he's not going to fight it.
That's exciting.
So the real question will be once he gets there, is he pleading the fifth or is he going to flip?
Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's going to be the case with all of these guys. From what I understand, Evan Corcoran already went in the Mar-a-Lago case.
Yeah.
And I have not heard that he pled the fifth, which we definitely would have heard already, which leads me to believe that he has given information on that case, which is huge because, they just found out that after the subpoena came down, there's information coming out that Trump personally rifled through all the boxes to pull out shit that he wanted.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So after the subpoena came down, Trump personally was like, let me go through here and take out all the shit I want before you give these back.
That's what I heard about that case this week is they had some hardcore evidence that he obstructed justice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe if they don't have it on video, they have several corroborating witnesses.
Yeah.
And I imagine one of those is Evan Corcoran.
Yeah.
I mean, considering that he came in this week and we're finding this all out this week, and that it hasn't come out that he pled the fifth, I'm willing to bet that he gave up that information. I've also for a while been thinking that Jared's been feeding them info.
Oh yeah.
I think Jared and Ivanka are feeding them info on the side because they're terrified of going to prison.
Yeah. Save yourselves.
Meanwhile, Jared's still getting more fucking money from the UAE.
Oh yeah. Oh man, and things are getting wild over there too.
I know. That's fucked up.
It's been a wild week, man.
It really has been a wild week. But next week, the E. Jean Carroll rape case starts, which Trump might have to testify in that case.
Wow.
And then the week after that, the Dominion lawsuit goes forward in which they might get Rupert Murdoch on the stand. So it'll be another week of hearing all the people on Fox talk about how they hate Trump and how he's a piece of shit and how stupid he is. And and then I think the week after that, there's something else. And then people are, I believe it was Lawrence O'Donnell was saying that a lot of the people he is talking to say that, that either Jack Smith or Fonnie Willis, I think it's maybe even Jack Smith, but charges could be coming from those cases as soon as the first week of May. So it's going to be a rough spring for old Meatball Don.
Meatball Don.
Yeah. Here's the other funny thing, and something that I had to ask about. So one of Trump's big things that he sort of bolsters himself up with is how rich he is.
Yeah.
It's always about how I'm such a rich guy. I'm a billionaire. I've got all this money. I'm so good at business that I'm just flush with cash.
Yeah.
Just fucking so rich, right?
Gold toilets, baby.
Yet the motherfucker cannot stop fundraising.
Yeah.
It's always, they're bleeding me dry.
The fucking fake mugshots.
This motherfucker had his lawyers specifically ask that he not be mugshotted because, quote, he has one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. They allowed him to not be mugshotted. And before the arraignment happened before he was in court.
Yeah.
They had shirts on his site with a fake mugshot trying to raise money, selling those bitches for like almost $50 fucking.
I felt like the real reason he didn't want his photo taken, like a real mugshot taken, is because he wouldn't own the rights to it. He wouldn't be able to sell shirts. Like anyone would be able to sell shirts.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably
he didn't
right.
really care about his fucking reputation anymore. You know,
He just wanted to be able to sell it.
Money. It's money. Yeah.
It's always money.
He wanted the rights to it.
It's been a grift from the fucking beginning.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just hope that I can be there in 10 years or so to see at least one or two people sort of have to come to grips with the fact that they tied their horse to the worst possible fucking shithead.
I read a tweet this week. It was kind of about things in general, but it really speaks to what we're saying right now. And the tweet said, this is not an exact quote, but it was like, we're behaving in ways so weird, only historians will truly be able to, like, only historians will truly understand.
Oh my God,
you know, like,
yeah.
we can't even explain, like, there's so much weird shit going on right now, like, we don't even have the words for it, but, like, decades from now, like, some historian's going to nail exactly why we're all acting this way.
Yeah, yep, yep.
And I think the same thing about some of these guys, like these guys are like, they're the fucking future villains of movies. Like, it's like the same thing with like the civil rights movies and other movies where there's always like the shit, and you're like, these guys existed. These guys were in office. Like, that's happening now. Like, history is not going to be kind on any of these motherfuckers.
Nope. And I hope it's.
But they don't give a shit, really. You know?
No, they don't
care
because their pockets have already been lined. They're already in their big fucking houses. They live in their bubble.
Yeah.
It's all about them and their kids, and that's it. They don't give a fuck about anybody else, and that's okay with them.
Yeah.
They're fine with that. I can't be that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I can't not care about your family as much as I care about my family. You know?
Yeah. Fuck those guys, man.
It's pretty wild. Did you see old Marjorie Taylor Greene get yelled out of her little protest in New York?
No.
She, there was just down the road from the courthouse, there was a park, and she had said that she was going to be there to protest. She pulled up, got out, got on her bullhorn, tried to yell for about 5 minutes. Was so drowned out by the counter protesters that she then immediately left.
Beautiful.
She was there for about 15 minutes total.
Nice. That's beautiful.
So yeah, really showing her support for old Donnie.
Yeah.
George Santos showed up.
Oh my God.
George Santos showed up, and when asked why, given all of the things he has going on with his own investigations and everything, why he would be there supporting Donald Trump, to which he answered, because I can.
All right.
Honestly, respect. The fact that it wasn't some like bullshit convolute just because I can was almost refreshing.
That's what I want, obviously.
Yeah, it was.
If you haven't heard by now, I do what I want.
Yeah, I also do things that I didn't really do. Jordan Klepper was there.
I do what I want. I also do what I didn't do.
Exactly. I also do things I didn't do. Jordan Klepper was there, and actually got right the fuck next to him and was asking him questions. Was asking him like very smart like questions about like, do you think this is potentially the dismantling, blah blah blah, and then he would go, tell us about your volleyball career. We need to know.
Beautiful.
Oh, so good. I love Jordan Klepper. I love those ballsy man on the street interviews.
Yeah, those are fun to watch.
If you've ever done a man on the street thing for anything, it's a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah.
And
just getting people to, I mean, in the news we deal with it all the time. And
for
those
sure.
are just like legit man on the street shots.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
I mean, I did one for a Mazio's commercial that never aired, and it was a chore. It was do you say Mazio's or Mazio's?
Were you the person asking the question?
Yes.
Oh,
yes, I
okay.
was. It never aired. Fun stuff.
Yeah.
So it was definitely worth sweating my take off in the fucking middle of the summer at a Drillers game for that.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's beautiful though.
Yeah, it was fun at times, but there were other times where I was like, boy, I hope this fucking pays off. Spoiler alert, it did not. Yeah, but I lost my train of thought.
It's cool, man. It's been
talking about like man on the streets. Like I love Jordan Klepper, and I love what is it? They're called the Good Liars. Those guys do good work. There's a few of them. These unassuming white guys that sort of use their incognito white faces to sort of get into these places and get people to talk to them. Yeah. Honestly, that's the only reason why these people open up in the beginning is because most of them are like, oh, this guy's on my side.
Totally.
I could totally talk to him. He's probably from Newsmax.
Yeah. Like if I showed up one of those places without my pink glasses and I just had my fat belly and my beard, I'm sure I could get some people.
Oh yeah,
to say some
you can get
shit.
them to talk to you. Now me on the other, they would look the second they see my mustache. They're like, get this fucking hipster out of here. Which is so funny because so many of them are also rocking the ironic mustache.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Mine is not ironic though. I don't think.
It just has purpose.
I'm not sure.
Mustache with purpose. It looks great.
Thank you. I love it. I've grown quite attached. Also, I almost fucking forgot about my favorite part of the Marjorie Taylor Greene story. So after she was screamed out of the protest, she got in an SUV and gave a couple of brief interviews, one to Garrett Hake from MSNBC and one to another fucking right-wing douche nozzle. There might have been others, but the two I saw were those. And she was talking about comparing Trump to all the other famous, great people who've been arrested before.
Oh, my God.
Like Jesus.
Oh,
Jesus was arrested.
Oh, God.
And persecuted.
Yeah. I mean, Trump's new Jesus, right?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I got lost in a thought for a second, and I should share it because it's...
Please.
I think, what if Marjorie Taylor Greene turns out this whole time is a Banksy art installation?
Honestly, it would be...
It's like Banksy's he's like a commentary on American politics.
Honestly, if that was the case, I would assassinate Banksy because he's done actual damage.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, I'd be like, it would be funny. I would be like, I started to say I would be impressed, and it would be amazing.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, no. Actual real damage has been done.
True.
So now
fuck you, Banksy.
It's not funny.
I'm going to rip all your paintings apart.
Yeah, and you. Personally, I will find you.
Okay, maybe like an improv everywhere gone incredibly wrong.
I couldn't uncommit from the bit.
Yeah. I just keep yes-anding.
Oh, man. Someone needs to know but. The anti-yes and.
My favorite.
Oh, let's dip into the Clarence Thomas news.
Oh, yeah. So this broke today
Holy
also.
Shit.
Go away, you. Sorry, my computer's being red.
That's what they do.
ProPublica, which is a great publication, and their whole thing is looking for corruption in power, right?
Actual investigative journalism.
Yeah, and they have done amazing, and everything about this.
They go deep. These guys actually investigate.
True investigating reporter. Mm-hmm. I read they interviewed some of this takes place at a resort. They interviewed a scuba trainer at the resort to put people to dates and faces to dates and all this stuff. They talk. There's
they do
a
their
secret
work.
Society, the all exclusive male retreat known as Bohemian Grove. They had people snitching, members of Bohemian Grove. They talked to them. These guys did some deep ass, they got sources. They did some hardcore investigating. It's very impressive. And then they displayed it out on their website on this whole animated. I love when newspapers and publications do this whole visual display. And they've got pictures of Clarence Thomas. Anyway, before I get, let's just go over. So basically, there was a great summary here. Let's see if we can read. Oh, yeah, here we go. Let's read this. This is, again, from ProPublica. For more than two.
Well, I was going to say, before you get into that, it's going to just call this person Crow.
Oh, yeah.
The person they're referring to is Republican mega donor Harlan Crow.
Yeah.
So if you don't know who he is, just Google him.
Dallas-based businessman is what they call him.
Yeah.
So for more than 2 decades, Thomas has accepted luxury trips virtually every year from the Dallas businessman without disclosing them, documents and interviews show. A public servant who has a salary of $285,000. He has vacationed on Crow's super yacht around the globe. He flies on Crow's Bombardier Global 5000 jet. He's gone with Crow to the Bohemian Grove, the exclusive California all-male retreat. Talk about some Republicans doing homoerotic shit. And to Crow's sprawling ranch in East Texas. And Thomas typically spends about a week every summer at Crow's private resort in the, how do we say that, Zampino?
Adirondacks.
Adirondacks. So they said the extent and frequency of Crow's apparent gifts to Thomas have no known precedent in the modern history of the U.S. Supreme Court. These trips appeared nowhere on Thomas's financial disclosures. His failure to report the flights appear to violate a law passed after Watergate that requires justices, judges, and members of Congress and federal officials to disclose most gifts. To ethic law. Oh, that's what two ethic law experts said. He also should have disclosed his trips on the yacht, but he Thomas did not respond to a detailed list of questions. But the Crow guy did admit, basically, he's like, we're friends. This is how I treat my personal friends. But the concern here is that no one knows who was on these trips that he went with. You know, like no one knows who had access to a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, alone for hours in seclusion.
And also, if you don't know, like the Supreme Court, they police themselves. Like there's no real true oversight. Like no investigation will ever happen unless the Supreme Court Justice Roberts.
Now the Judiciary Committee, the Ethics Committee, they can investigate. Yeah. They can investigate and they can come up with suggestions. However, the only person that could actually do anything is Roberts.
Yeah. And like, you know, basically, like he is just balls to the wall, like taking gifts from this buddy of his, and like now they're personal friends because sure, you know, you got a Supreme Court in your back pocket, like you're gonna make sure he's your bestie.
I mean, listen, if you're just like shoveling money at me for 20 years, I'm probably gonna be your bud.
There's a painting, like they said, if you go to Crow's, one of his mansions, I imagine. There's a painting of him and Clarence Thomas, just like
what?
Yeah, and like there's a painting of them of their buds just hanging out, like giant, and like this guy is like a family member, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and he just gives them money, and like he claims he has it. We're just friends. He's never he's never had a case in front of Clarence, you know, and. But like again, no one knows who else was on these trips.
Yeah, that doesn't mean he can't be influencing how he votes on other cases.
Yeah, and
he might just have opinions on.
Yeah, exactly. And and these guys, they have lifelong appointments, as we all know. They're supposed to be nonpartisan, and we know that they lean a certain way, right?
Yeah,
everyone knows that.
Yeah, but come on,
but they're still like, and they a lot of. What I respect about Supreme Court justices is it does appear sometimes, no matter which way they lean, they do have a respect for the court itself. Like they get appointed and they realize, oh, I'm a fucking Supreme Court justice now. Like I can't go dicking around. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do, right? And then they disclose their connections and documents every year.
Meanwhile, Clarence Thomas is just like, this is my playground. I'm doing whatever.
I've been getting away with shit since the 90s. I'm gonna stop now.
Look. They didn't give a fuck when I put the pube on the Coke can. Look that shit up if you don't remember that motherfucking story.
Not to mention just all the shadiness with Jenny, his wife.
Yes.
And like the literal text she sent on January 6th.
It just came out that she accepted over $600,000 from a very shady source.
Yeah.
I mean, Jenny Thomas is as fucking compromised as it comes.
Oh yeah.
The fact that
she's an insurrectionist, like she was 100%.
Yes, she actually was involved with the organization of January 6th.
Yeah, she's terrifying.
Yes, it's. I would be scared of her too if I was Clarence.
I know, right?
Like
that's what. Like
I don't think he's a Supreme Court. I think Jenny Thomas is a Supreme Court justice.
Man,
yeah. She's mean. She looks like the teacher that everyone hates. That teacher that everyone was like, fucking Miss Thomas is the worst, man. She's so goddamn mean.
What was that 80s movie? Isn't there like a principal who gets like possessed by like a demon or something, and he has like anyway, she looks like she's got a demon inside of her.
Oh, I was like, are you thinking of the principal of Ferris Bueller in Howard the Duck when he gets possessed?
I mean, I think I am, because I wanted to say Ferris Bueller, but I'm like, there was no possessions in Ferris Bueller.
But it was Jeffrey Jones.
That's exactly what I was thinking
in
about.
Howard the Duck.
Yes!
I love that movie.
Fuck yes, Santino. That's great. I'm glad you knew what I was talking about.
I did somehow. I immediately was like, oh, he's thinking of Jeffrey Jones.
Like mixing my things.
Getting possessed by the interdimensional space demon in Howard the Duck.
That is exactly it. Anyway, that's Jenny Thomas to me.
Now I'm just thinking of Leah Thompson in that movie.
Oh, yeah. And Howard the Duck?
Mm-hmm.
You're a huge fan of that movie.
I love that
I think
movie.
I've heard you talk about it before.
She's a big reason why. I saw it at a very formative time in my life, TJ.
That makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
For sure.
Same with The Legend of Billie Jean. If you've never seen that movie, it's a deep fucking cut.
And have her in it also?
No, it's Helen Slater was in that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Helen and Christian Slater, who are not brother and sister, but look like they could be, and played brother and sister in the film.
Wow.
I know, it's wild.
Wild.
For years, I thought they were actually brother and sister because we didn't have the internet, and it was just like
Yeah.
they're like deducing, like, well, both of their last
Should we
names are
believe?
Slater, and
Yeah.
they were brother and sister in the movie, so they're clearly brother and
yeah.
sister in real life.
These are like the Cusacks. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. The Slaters and
What
the
was the name of the
Cusacks. The Legend of Billie Jean.
Wow. See, I was a huge Christian Slater fan back in the day. I don't remember seeing
Oh, this is the movie where someone stole his scooter, and then they go to get it back, and the guys break the scooter instead of giving it back, and then they go to the guy's dad to get the money, like, hey, your son broke our scooter, give me the money. And then the dad's like, all right, I'll give you the money, but first I'm going to try and rape you.
Jesus,
And so,
wow.
yep.
Why am I laughing?
So then she shoots his ass,
Oh my.
and then they
Wow.
go, yeah. He doesn't die, but she shoots him, and then they go on the run. And it's like it's a fucking cool movie. It's like
Sounds intense.
yeah, Pat Benatar's Invincible is played throughout that movie, and I love it.
Was this like after Gleaming the Cube, kind of like that era?
I think it might have been before Gleaming the Cube. Yeah, because this baby, he's pretty young in that movie.
Okay, all right.
It might have been before. Gleaming the Cube fucking rules too. We're just talking about movies for the rest of the day. Gleaming the Cube fucking rules too. If you've never seen that movie, it's
Hey man, it's been a heavy politics day.
my adopted Vietnamese brother got murdered, and now I'm going to skateboard my way to justice.
Yes. God, plots to 80s movies are so fucking
great.
wild. Yeah.
I know. That's why they keep redoing them, because they're like, we can't come up with anything better than that.
Fucking find any 80s movie. Let's redo it.
Yeah. Oh boy. Let's see. We're looking over. It looks like they're still debating about Gloria Johnson. Look, I mean, let's not pretend like they're only going to expel the one.
Yeah, it's
going back
expected.
to this Tennessee story. They're going to expel all three of these House members.
And there'll be more. It sounds like there's going to be some litigation. Well, there obviously was some rights.
Right, and Justin Jones said that he's going to have his legal team looking into the constitutionality of this
It
expulsion.
feels very unconstitutional. Yeah.
I mean, if it's not clearly unconstitutional, it should be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So well, I
This
wouldn't be
is
surprised if
definitely
we saw these people walking back on the floor at some point, maybe in some capacity, somewhere.
I hope it's as in the actual House of Congress,
In
and then
DC,
they can hold their own state reps.
Oh man,
Yeah, that would be something else.
yeah.
And we said it like just
Governor,
seeing these
he
two
could run for governor of Tennessee.
that would be fucking great. Just seeing these two guys speak. I mean, there's no way that these Republicans haven't just shot themselves in the foot by propelling two incredibly eloquent and well-spoken, smart legislators and given them a giant national platform to, like the idea of like, we kept thinking like, oh man, Democrats, like, who's our future? Who's our future? Like,
there's not a lot of not a ton of sparks.
We've got our AOC. We've got we've got a few of these people, and just as if it was like, as if they heard us. They were like, oh, you need new superstars?
Yeah.
Let us give them to you on a silver platter. In an attempt to own the libs, we're going to basically give you ammunition.
Yeah. Which this is a perfect time to point out to our Oklahoma listeners, especially, what's happening to these Tennessee floor representatives. Not to the same extreme, but very similar things happened to an Oklahoma representative, Maury Turner, who is a representative from the Oklahoma City area, I believe.
I think that's correct.
They were like censored and like stripped from committees. They're the state's only trans identifying member. They're our first non-binary congressperson, and they were censored for also participating somewhat in a protest at the Capitol.
Yep. It's essentially don't tread on our First Amendment rights ever if we're out there railing against vaccines or mask mandates or CRT or the insurrection, not wanting to have Joe Biden, all of this. But when anybody else exercises their First Amendment rights for, say, gun laws or LGBTQ rights, trans rights, any of these reproductive rights, education rights, health care, then all of a sudden the First Amendment just all of a sudden is super inconvenient.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter anymore, and it goes right the fuck out the window.
Yeah.
But I personally am sick and tired of the Second Amendment taking precedent over the First Amendment.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting to the point where I'm, turning into the very militant, fuck them, take all their guns away.
Yeah.
And you know what? You did that, motherfuckers. None of these laws were about taking any guns away, but now... just like the lawn darts, you fuck up often enough and you don't get to have your toy anymore.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, is that these motherfuckers at the end of the day, it's that they don't want you to take away their toy. Mm-hmm. What other reason is it so fucking important for them to have it other than they think it's cool?
I think a lot of them, it's fear too. They just fear weird shit.
Absolutely. They think everyone's trying to fucking get them because that's all they've ever been told by Fox News and Newsmax and OAN is that everyone's out to get them. All these liberal tree huggers and snowflakes are out to get you. You need to arm yourselves to the teeth from all of these fucking hippies. Like, really? What are you what's coming for you that you need to be so heavily armed?
There was a meme, and it's kind of an old joke at this point, but this one hit so hard. It was sent to our group chat, and it was like the Kid Rock as a blimp, or the blimp was saying like something about snowflakes, and then the crashing blimp was Kid Rock being like, my beer label.
Yeah. Oh, that's another one we haven't even touched on. Kid Rock is big mad that Bud Light put fucking rainbows on their beer cans.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, I saw a tweet that was like, it showed a press release from, first it showed the Bud Light cans and it was like, MAGA, fuck that, we're going to Coors. And then Coors, the fuck you are. And then it just showed a press release about them standing with LGBTQ community.
I love it.
Yeah. Also, spoiler alert, you dumb rednecks. Coors and Bud Light owned by the same people. Anheuser-Busch Corporation.
Capitalism, y'all. You did this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Didn't Anheuser-Busch buy Coors?
I think so. That seems right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they own most of the beer.
Yeah. They're all everything's one company now, right? Doesn't
pretty much.
Amazon own everything at this point?
Yeah, Jeff Bezos' Anheuser-Busch Corporation.
Yeah.
God damn it. Now I'm going to get ads for fucking beer on my Facebook.
No. I saw, real quick, I saw Pete Holmes in Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think I'm spoiling anything. He does this bit, and for like 5 minutes, it felt like 5 minutes. He was just like, I want to buy a big dildo. I want to buy a big, huge dildo. And then he was like, shh, everyone be quiet. I want to buy a huge, big dildo. And he just kept saying it. And he was like, you guys enjoy those ads for the next few weeks. Yeah, it was really great.
Oh, man. Fucked up part is it will work.
Oh, yeah. Crystal, no, she didn't get ads for that, but she's been getting ads for another bit that he does. About like incontinence and urinary. So like it's been really fun.
Here's some diapers. So that's really funny.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you did you have an album suggestion this week?
Oh, an album. Can you go?
Okay.
Do you have one? Are you ready?
No, but we'll cut out the dead noise.
Yeah. Okay. Can I point out one more news thing real quick?
Yes, please. Oh, yeah.
This also I read today, and this feels...
Thank you. I actually almost forgot about this story, so thank you for remembering.
We're talking about the Supreme Court, and I meant to lead into it then, but we started... I don't know what we were talking about, but it was great. But so the Supreme Court ruled... This is the headline from the New York Times. Supreme Court rules for transgender girl in school sports dispute. So basically a student... a girl on the track team in West Virginia middle school wanted to compete. Of course, West Virginia has passed similar laws to other red states where athletes have to compete on teams of their birth gender. And then, anyway, so there was like court, so like there's, what's the word I'm looking for? An appeal.
Yes.
So there was an appeal, and the court ruled that, while the case was being tried, that the girl was still allowed to play. Well, West Virginia was like fucking mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
So they
took
it to the Supreme Court like an emergency. They're like, hey, can you vote on this so this kid can't play on this team? And surprisingly, the Supreme Court was like, no, the other court stands. Like what they did was fine. So the student gets to continue playing.
At least while it goes through the appeals process, correct?
Yeah. But it did say that it's a good sign that the Supreme Court does not want to get into another social battle right now, right?
Right.
Like this is a sign that they're not going to just straight up like vote against trans rights every time, that they do reckon they're like reading the room a tiny bit.
Right.
But of course there was two dissenting voices, no surprise, Alito and Thomas. They spoke out against it.
It's the lifelong appointments of well, anybody really. Like if Congress had lifelong appointments, it would lead to the same thing. But lifelong Supreme Court justice assignments will really lead you to rooting for death.
Yeah.
On both sides. You had motherfuckers rooting for Ruth Bader Ginsburg to die.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they knew they were going to get their third.
Yeah.
Guys, their third Supreme Court justice sat in one presidency.
Yeah.
Three seated in one presidency.
Shouldn't have had the first one, though.
No, they never should have had the first one.
Yeah.
Merrick Garland should be sitting there right now being that fourth voice.
He's doing a great job, though.
He's
doing an okay job, right?
No, here's the thing.
I think he's doing good of like recusing himself from the right things. I have been impressed with that. He seems to know when to like, you know what? I'm going to step out of this because this could be political.
I think he could be a little bit more vocal on his reasoning for those things as far as like, not giving them so much room to speculate.
Yeah.
Coming out and being a little bit more forceful on
true.
things like
I'm always down with transparency.
Yeah, like things like listen, we haven't taken certain steps because this is going on.
Yeah.
Because Jack Smith is doing this.
Yeah.
Why would we bring this case when we've brought forth a special prosecutor for that purpose?
Yeah.
The fact that so it's essentially you've got progressives that are like, he took too long, he didn't do anything fast enough, and there's a fair argument for some of that.
Yeah.
But then on the same count, if he would have brought it, you would have just given ammunition for the other side to say it was, it's not that they're not going to do it either fucking way, because they're going to say it's political and and that's bullshit. But the second you let Merrick Garland bring those charges, then it's retaliation for not getting seated and blah 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 blah. So the fact that he did bring in a special, and I believe he said it in the press conference announcing Jack Smith, was that it was almost impossible for him not to do that.
Yeah.
It was basically like, I have no choice but to bring a special prosecutor into this so that it has a level of independence.
Yeah. Once again, he has that judgment that Supreme Court justices should have, that we want Clarence Thomas to have, where he's like, you know what, this is weird. I should probably step out of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing that I wanted to just briefly touch back on about the current Trump case too is that let's not forget that when Michael Cohen pled guilty and was convicted of the crimes involved with this, that was under Trump's Justice Department. That was under Trump's presidency, under his administration, that he was allowed to plead guilty and be convicted of those crimes. So the fact that they're saying that now all of a sudden it's political and a hit job and whatever, and they're saying, oh, it's because it's they're saying Biden's funding it and blah 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 blah. So if that's the rationale, if it can be corrupted because Biden was funding it, well then couldn't Trump have stopped Michael Cohen from being convicted in 2018?
Yeah.
Believe he could have. Anyways, so we'll wrap on that. We'll get back with you next week as we hopefully will see a little bit more of the aftermath of the expulsion of these 3 House reps in Tennessee, because there's going to be repercussions, if not within the next week or so, long term, when these kids win bigger seats.
Oh yeah,
because it's gonna happen now.
Yeah. Keep an eye on that, and I think it's going to happen more across the country too, where especially seats where like Oklahoma, where there's a huge majority, a super majority.
Yeah, they know that they won't get outvoted in things like this, so they know they can do it with little or no,
like any dissenting voice is going to be squeezed.
They
out.
know that if there are repercussions, it won't be immediate. They're going to have their time to fucking sit in the limelight of having owned the libs or whatever. But sadly, we're a state where I don't even know if we could get behind someone like a Justin Jones and vote them into a bigger seat. Because there's one thing about Oklahoma Democrats. You don't show the fuck up. I'm yelling at you. You, the Democratic voter that didn't vote in the last election. I'm yelling at you. There's more of us than you realize. And if we actually showed the fuck up like mad Republicans do, we wouldn't be in this fucking situation where it's so deeply one-sided.
More of a fight, for sure.
Well, absolutely. It's so many Democrats in Oklahoma have just taken the position of, well, fuck it, they will never win.
Yeah.
We'll never win, so why bother? Fuck that. I'm sorry. I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in the world where I just convince myself it's pointless.
Yeah.
Fuck that. No way. Never stop fighting.
2 governors ago, we had a Democrat.
Yes.
It was a Democrat governor.
Yeah, let's not forget that before Mary Fallon, we had Brad Henry.
Brad Henry, yeah. And he was pretty liberal. I mean, like, for Oklahoma?
For Oklahoma, he was very liberal.
Yeah.
For me, he was pretty centrist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. Anyway, album Rex. I'm going to go back to 2007 for a little album.
Mine's from 2007.
No way. Yeah. Wow, nice. A little band called Minus the Bear. They have since split up, but they were an amazing, amazing band. Planet of Ice. Such a fucking good album, top to bottom. Really, really unique style Minus the Bear had. They're one of those bands that it's very hard to find another band to compare them to because they are very, very unique. Check out Planet of Ice by Minus the Bear.
Nice. Mine is also from 2007. It's got a Tulsa connection. This is a band that started in Tulsa and then had a little bit of national success. They were on Conan, I think, at one point, and now it's mostly one guy. I mean, I think he lives in Seattle now, if I'm right. So they still make music every now and then, but the band is Aqueduct.
Okay, I remember them.
And the album from 2007 is Or Give Me Death. It was their second full-length album, I think. And
who's the main guy in that band?
I'll give you his name real quick. Let me click on the bio here. David Terry.
Okay.
Yeah. Aqueduct is the one-man band project of David Terry, originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma, after move to Seattle and the release of Power Ballads. Anyway, so Aqueduct's a great, like indie band is what we called it in 2007, but just kind of quirky rock, kind of like pop power ballad, like I said there, just but also like a great sense of humor to it. Like
nice.
The lyrics are fun, but the music is always goes interesting places. And
sweet.
I'm building this playlist for my birthday, which was this last week, and I'm finding 2 songs from every year that I've been alive, and right now for 2007, they're both songs from that album.
Oh, nice.
I'm still like chiseling away right now, but like I love that album so much.
Yeah.
There was like no other songs that like fit. Right. That's the only
Fair.
That's the only year where I had one album taking both songs. But it might change.
Hey, but if that's what it is, that's what it is.
It's a great album.
That's right.
Go listen to it.
Nice. All right. Well, that's it for us this week. We will see you next week on Maximum News.
Yeah.
Maximum News is a production of OLA Ministries. All original music written, performed, and recorded by Pence.